In the headlines of this hour on VTV News, Vietnamese Prime Minister met with Polish President, reaffirming Vietnam's position as Poland's top partner in Southeast Asia. Later on, international community shares experience of developing financial centers. In our world news, Gaza ceasefire deal officially signed.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is currently 3 p.m. local time and you're tuning into 30 minutes of VTV News. I'm Lee Lei with the latest updates. And during his official visit to Poland, Prime Minister Phie met with Polish President Andrzej Duda. President Duda called the visit a turning point for strengthening the comprehensive partnership between Poland and Vietnam. The Vietnamese Prime Minister expressed delight at visiting Poland and conveyed greetings from Vietnamese leaders, including General Secretary Tô Lâm, State President Lương Cường, and National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn. Both leaders pledged to strengthen high-level exchanges, fully implement the EVFTA, and boost trade in key products. President Duda affirmed Poland's support for the swift ratification of the Vietnam-EU Investment Protection Agreement and praised the Vietnamese community's contributions in Poland. The Prime Minister thanked Poland for supporting the Vietnamese community and expressed hope for their recognition as an official minority group in Poland. Prime Minister Phie and his Polish counterpart Donald Tusk held a joint press conference on Thursday during the Vietnamese leader's official visit to Poland. Following successful bilateral talks, both countries committed to strengthening cooperation across various fields.
At the press conference, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk welcomed Vietnamese Prime Minister Phie's visit, which coincides with the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Poland and Vietnam. Poland deeply values this long-standing and trusted partnership.
Vietnam has impressed the world with its remarkable economic achievements. We acknowledge the country's challenging post-war starting point and years of reform. Vietnam's successes are truly extraordinary. Both nations are committed to strengthening cooperation across various sectors, including economy, trade, investment, culture, and defense. Additionally, we aim to help expedite the ratification of the EU-Vietnam Investment Protection Agreement.
Despite the complexities and challenges in the world today, the core values and deep bonds between our two peoples remain strong. Not only do these ties endure, but they will continue to grow deeper and more comprehensive. We are optimistic that upcoming discussions will lead to meaningful outcomes, enhancing cooperation and advancing the partnership between Poland and Vietnam to even greater heights.
On Friday morning, two struggling banks, GP Bank or Global Petroleum Bank and DAB or Đông Á Bank, were officially transferred to Vietnam Prosperity Joint Stock Commercial Bank or VP Bank and Ho Chi Minh City Development Joint Stock Commercial Bank, HD Bank. Following the transfer, VP Bank and HD Bank will fully own GP Bank and DAB. All customer rights and interests at both banks will remain protected under existing agreements and legal regulations. This restructuring, while complex and unprecedented, is being carefully overseen with close coordination among authorities. The State Bank of Vietnam has now completed the transfer of 4 underperforming banks to stronger financial institutions. On Thursday afternoon in Da Nang City, Deputy Prime Minister Nguyễn Hòa Bình chaired a workshop on developing regional and international financial centers in Vietnam. In 2025, Da Nang and Ho Chi Minh City will develop regional and international financial centers, promoting rapid and sustainable growth. The Deputy Prime Minister emphasized that through the presentations and comments at the workshop, it can be concluded that financial centers in Vietnam need to have a special ecosystem, build open policies and mechanisms, develop green finance, promote communication, and consult with international organizations on developing a resolution on the construction of regional and international financial centers in Vietnam. Vietnam aims to establish an international financial centers in Ho Chi Minh City and a regional one in Da Nang this year to become a global key financial hub. While the task is challenging, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính affirmed that no matter how difficult it is, it must be done. He also underscored the importance of learning from global experiences and strengthening international cooperation to ensure the effective development of these centers.
London, a global financial hub with a long history, ranks second among the world's leading financial centers. A key factor in its success is its people.
That is, not just those who are doing the financing via banking, but also the accountants, the lawyers, and the other services that go around financial services to help do deals and move money around effectively into investments. So that means that we need to develop and have really talented people to do all of this.
Experts highlight that a financial center is a complex ecosystem that relies on strong, hard infrastructure like geographical location, real estate, and telecommunications. Equally important is soft infrastructure, including legal frameworks and a supportive business environment. Vietnam can learn valuable lessons from successful global models in this regard.
Vietnam needs legal regulations for mechanisms like a sandbox for new financial products. The current process requires startups to navigate management by numerous ministries and agencies. Simplifying this system could help Vietnam achieve success comparable to Dubai and other leading models.
Whether it's Singapore or Abu Dhabi or even sort of London or New York, I think that the key is creating the correct framework for investors to be comfortable to invest and for the participants to be able to access the market and access the various instruments that they want to access in a regulated and safe way.
The Ministry of Planning and Investment highlighted Vietnam's economic factors and advantages required for new financial centers to compete on the global stage. Its strategic location at a global shipping crossroads and its different time zone from the world's largest financial centers offer a unique advantage in attracting capital.
The industry and trade sector has set an ambitious growth target of 14% for 2025, aiming to increase Vietnam's total export turnover by 12%. The textile and garment sector specifically targets 47 to 48 billion US dollars in export revenue. To secure early orders, companies are adopting both green and digital practices in their operations.
Eco-friendly and recyclable products, now comprising 20% more of total output, have allowed this business to raise prices by 10% against last year. This price increase, coupled with rising demand, signals a promising year ahead.
European customers, particularly, are showing heightened interest in outdoor activities and hiking and trekking apparel. This creates a strong market niche.
Textile remains one of the world's most environmentally impactful sectors, generating 92 million tons of waste and approximately 3.9 billion tons of CO2 annually. Businesses' shift to green production faces challenges in financing and workforce training, with many relying on internal funds.
We haven't secured green financial resources. Our access to green financial resources remains limited, despite dedicated banking programs, so we have had to fund our own green transition.
According to KBSV Securities, Vietnam's textile exports to the U.S. will face mixed impacts this year due to potential tariff adjustments under the incoming Trump administration. Tariffs on many products may increase from 16.5% to 20%.
Businesses must focus on developing high-value-added products, reducing costs, and meeting quality and environmental standards.
AI-powered design and automated production have significantly enhanced efficiency and reduced costs, helping Vietnam's textile sector create a stronger presence in international markets.
While challenges remain, high-quality Vietnamese garments are well-positioned to address supply shortages in the U.S. market. Additionally, Vietnam benefits from free trade agreements, modern infrastructure, developed seaports, and fast delivery. These advantages provide a strong foundation for the textile industry to achieve its export growth targets.
To prevent shortages and abrupt price hikes before, during, and after the date holiday, the Ministry of Industry and Trade has instructed local departments of trade to closely monitor market trends, especially for high-demand products or those subject to price fluctuations. Authorities are predicting consumption patterns and developing measures to balance supply and demand, stabilize the market, and boost domestic consumption during date and the first quarter of the year. And before we move on, let's have a look at the exchange rate between the Vietnam dong and some world currencies in today's market. Coming up next on VTV News. New regulations improve traffic awareness in Highlands. And later on, Mekong Delta craft villages bustled with Lunar New Year preparations. Welcome back to VTV News Live. Now, traffic flows in Ho Chi Minh City increased dramatically as the end of the lunar year nears. The volume of traffic on the roads in the city center increased by about 17%, and some gateway areas also increased by 10%. However, despite the traffic jams, people's traffic awareness after the government's Decree 168 has improved significantly.
As a high-tech car driver who travels all day on various routes, Nguyen Mạnh Quân sees a change in driver awareness, especially among those who drive service vehicles.
Traffic awareness is better now. Now, everyone obeys 100%.
Monitoring data shows that traffic jams in Ho Chi Minh City are only temporary due to the increased demand for travel and shopping at the end of the year. Decree 168, along with multiple other traffic violations attracting increased penalties, has profoundly impacted people's awareness and ensured traffic order and safety across the country.
I strongly support the decree. People don't violate traffic laws anymore.
I see people obeying the rules of the road. We can learn from the experiences of foreign countries to improve the current traffic jam situation.
Since Decree 168 came into effect 2 weeks ago, traffic accidents in Ho Chi Minh City have decreased in all three criteria compared to the previous period. Specifically, the number of traffic accidents decreased by 58%, the number of deaths decreased by 7%, and the number of injured people decreased by 71%. Road users are now being more careful, and Decree 168 is expected to help eradicate traffic violations.
Decree 168's implementation has improved traffic awareness throughout Vietnam, from major urban centers to rural and mountainous areas. These changes have helped reduce traffic violations and accidents. Our report on National Highway 6 in Sơn La Province.
National Highway 6, which leads to the northwest, features winding, narrow roads. Despite these conditions, traffic police continue to detect speeding violations, particularly among motorcyclists. Most violators accept and comply with regulations when stopped for exceeding the speed limit by less than 20 km per hour.
This violation is subject to a fine of 30 to 40 USD and a 2-point deduction on the driver's license.
I admit I was at fault for not noticing the signs. This penalty will certainly make me more mindful of my driving, because violations can lead to financial hardship and endanger other traffic participants.
Under Decree 168, the penalty for motorcycle speeding has increased from 197 USD to a maximum of 315 USD, along with a 4-point driver's license deduction. On National Highway 6 through Son La Province, with its steep slopes, continuous curves, foggy conditions, and slippery roads, traffic police identify speeding as the leading cause of accidents.
We are controlling and handling violations across all routes under our jurisdiction. We're primarily focusing on speeding and drunk driving violations. As a result, violations and traffic accidents have decreased.
After 2 weeks of implementing Decree 168, Son La traffic police have reported a decline in traffic accidents. Officials have addressed nearly 1,000 violations throughout the province, primarily involving speeding and driving under the influence of alcohol. Notably, police detected 5 cases of individuals driving under the influence of drugs.
On Friday afternoon in Vĩnh Thực Island Commune, Mong Cái City, the Quảng Ninh Border Guard hosted the Spring in Water Areas Warms People's Hearts program for Tết 2025. The initiative provided gifts to families receiving social welfare, disadvantaged locals, and students participating in the Helping Children Go to School and Adopted Children of Border Guard Stations programs. The event also featured free medical consultations, medicine distribution, and a chung cake making competition for low-income families. Cultural exchanges, folk games, and traditional performances rounded out the festivities, strengthening bonds between military personnel and local residents. Across the Mekong Delta region, Tết markets are brimming with ornamental flowers and plants, especially the iconic yellow apricot blossoms. In renowned flower villages like Sadek in Dong Thap and Cái Mơn in Bến Tre, local gardeners are preparing their blooms for the Tết market. Traders throughout the country visit to purchase these flowers, distributing them to the central and northern regions. The Mekong Delta provides millions of floral products annually to meet the Lunar New Year season's demand. As the lunar calendar enters mid-December, traditional craft villages buzz with preparations for the Lunar New Year festival. Artisans who specialize in dried foods and festive treats are already immersed in the holiday spirit. Though the workload is heavier, the surge in demand fills them with joy and excitement.
Phu Quoc's dried shrimp is beloved throughout the country. Caught fresh from coastal waters and processed the same day, the shrimp maintain their distinctive sweet and savory flavor. Other dried seafood products, such as anchovies, barracuda, alum fish, and squid, are also highly sought after. Despite local households and processing facilities operating at full capacity, supply cannot keep up with demand.
Output to central and northern provinces has also surged, driving up prices. Currently, our produce has sold out, and prices are very high.
The rice flake production village in Tan Than Commune, Lai Vung District, Dong Thap Province, is equally busy. Workers frequently work late into the evening, often until 9 or 10 p.m., to fulfill orders. To meet the growing demand, facility owners have expanded their production areas and invested in new equipment.
With this machine, we can process a large batch, over 10 kilograms, in about 25 to 30 minutes. In a day, we can produce 1 or 2 sacks of finished products.
Meanwhile, the Thuận Hung rice paper making village bustles with activity from dawn. In every kitchen, workers tirelessly prepare rice paper during this peak Tet sales season. Front yards and alleyways become drying spaces, with rice paper laid out under the sun. Though a humble product, rice paper has brought prosperity to the village. Its presence signals that spring has arrived.
The Nguyễn Huệ Flower Street in Ho Chi Minh City, a cultural symbol of Tết, is steadily coming to life. This year's design features 90 distinct snake mascots as its highlight. Artisans are diligently completing the final production stages for installation early next week.
A giant snake mascot featuring a head over 10 meters high and a body winding over 50 meters long is being constructed in smaller sections. More than 50 workers and artisans have spent over 20 days working tirelessly with steel frames, wire mesh, and foam to bring this female snake to life.
Foam models need complex steel structures to stand, but foam burns easily during welding, so we mark the positions and bring the steel structure out for welding before bringing it back in again for assembly.
Of the 12 zodiac animals, the snake is a cold-blooded reptile with complex characteristics. To overcome these challenges, the design team meticulously crafted the mascot for the Year of the Snake into a gentle and graceful work of art. The snake figures are nearly finished and expected to be moved and installed in about 4 days.
Because the snake's head is over 10 meters tall and the conical hat has a diameter exceeding 4 meters, no available transport could move them as a whole. It requires on-site assembly from the planning stage.
Nguyen Huet Flower Street stands as a beloved cultural symbol of Tit in Ho Chi Minh City. This year's mascots for the Year of the Snake have been meticulously crafted and promise to delight visitors. The Flower Street will welcome guests from 7 p.m. on January 27th, the 28th day of the 12th lunar month, until 9 p.m. on February 2nd, the 5th day of Tet.
Coming up next in our world news, Gaza ceasefire deal officially signed. And later on, France Prime Minister survives no confidence vote. Moving on to our world news, representatives of Israel, Hamas, the US, and Qatar have officially signed the hostage deal and Gaza ceasefire. According to Israel Jerusalem Post, the signing ceremony took place in Doha, Qatar. The Israeli government has postponed the plenary sessions to vote on the ceasefire agreement from Friday to Saturday. This change would delay the release of the first 3 hostages until Monday rather than Sunday as initially planned. Previously, on January the 15th, Egypt, Qatar, and the U.S. issued a joint statement on the ceasefire agreement and hostage exchange between Israel and Hamas. The agreement will include 3 phases, starting from January the 19th. The first phase will last 42 days, during which the Israeli army will withdraw from densely populated areas and the 2 sides will exchange hostages. Indonesia's Ministry of Defense aims to gradually increase the defense budget from 0.8% to 1.5% of the country's gross domestic product (GDP). The ministry stressed that this increase is essential for enhancing defense capabilities. According to the plan, Indonesia will strengthen its naval forces, including upgrading warships, frigates, which is a type of warship with a displacement of 3,000 to 7,000 tons, submarines and surveillance capabilities, as well as missile and ammunition systems. The country also plans to strengthen its Air Force arsenal, including fighter jets and transport aircraft. Independent military analysis site Global Firepower reports that Indonesia currently ranks among the top 15 defense powers. French Prime Minister François Bayrou and his new government survived the first vote of no confidence in Parliament on Thursday. The leftist opposition called for the vote. The 131 lawmakers who voted in favor of bringing down Bayrou fell well short of the 288 votes needed. The center-left Socialist Party in the National Assembly did not support the move. This outcome means the government can continue to function without relying entirely on far-right support. However, Prime Minister Bayrou's government remains in a weak position and faces a major challenge in passing the 2025 budget. The ongoing struggle to control the budget deficit has triggered France's political crisis and led to the resignation of Bayrou's predecessor. A SpaceX Starship rocket broke up in space minutes after launching from Texas on Thursday. This failure has disrupted the company's speedy rocket development efforts in a mission expected to debut a key satellite deployment demonstration.
9, 8, 7.
SpaceX's Starship system is a heavily upgraded version, standing roughly 37 stories tall. The ship was carrying its first test payload of Mach satellites, but no crew. SpaceX Mission Control in Texas lost contact with Starship 8 minutes into flight after it separated in space from its super heavy first stage booster.
We did lose all communications with the ship.
So, I mean, that is essentially telling us that we had an anomaly with that upper stage.
This is the tallest rocket system, about 121 m tall, and the most powerful ever built. It is capable of generating nearly 8,000 tons of thrust when launched and is used to carry both people and goods.
The total vehicle did have an on-time liftoff at 4:37 p.m. Central Time from the launch pad just behind us at Starbase Texas. Gorgeous ascent and successful stage separation. The booster pushed the ship off and the ship disconnected.
This marks SpaceX's 7th test mission and first of the year. The company's last Starship second stage failure occurred during its second test mission in March last year, when the rocket broke apart while re-entering Earth's atmosphere. Despite the Starship rocket failure, Elon Musk said he has no plans to postpone the next test launches, scheduled for next month. SpaceX envisions Starship as a fully reusable transportation system capable of carrying both humans and cargo to Earth orbit, the Moon, and Mars.
Up next, let's have a look at the weather forecast for Vietnam and other locations in the world. And that is all that we have for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can visit our website or YouTube channel or download a mobile app VTVgo for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.